How are you all? It's Friday. Can we give each other a happy Friday, happy boot camp day, happy, wait, I'm so struck in this moment. It is so easy to start something like this. We talked a little about this yesterday. Great leaders finish what they start. Great leaders stay all in. Great leaders keep showing up. Great leaders go all the way. And you all, with all the distractions and all the things that could be going on, and it's a Friday, you're here. And those of you doing the replays with us, I know so many of you are, way to stick with it. It sounds silly to say proud of you, but can we be proud of each other and proud of ourselves? Like it's awesome. And it's a big deal to actually keep showing up. Now, I am committed that it is worth your while to be here today because we are focusing on who remembers what we're focusing on today after my, million emails and voice notes and everything. Put in the chat if you know what we are up to today. We're monetizing today. It's Abundance Day. Isn't that awesome? I'm so excited. We get to monetize. We get to talk about creating abundance through our books and thought leadership. And what I'm going to invite us into is not just going to be thinking from our brain up here, our rational, logical mind, because the money you are seeking, the abundance that you're seeking, the income that you are seeking is here for you. It's here for you. So what I want to do is I want to position us and use some neuroscience right here at the beginning so that we can open ourselves and actually be in a state of alignment to the strategies that we're going to learn, right? Because if we just do the strategies, you might have stuff going on. Does anyone have any stuff around money? Put stuff in the chat if you think it's hard to make, that you feel like you don't deserve it. You feel like you do deserve it and it's just eluded you and you don't know why it's so challenging to have it or keep it or, create more of it, right? Is there stuff? And this is the game changer edition of the boot camp. And I want to make sure we change the game around money before we even do the book strategies. So we're always winning the game we're playing. But the trick is that it's the game we're playing on a subconscious level. You're going to meet Carol. Look later. I'm going to bring Carol up to power anchor with me today's session. And this is what Carol is a master in, right? It's like our results will not rise to the level of our vision. They will match the level of our belief, right? They'll match the level of our belief. So if we believe we don't deserve it, we can't have it, it's hard, other people can, or it's bad, even though we want it, we shouldn't want it. If we've got any of that stuff, right? Grant said it's been stopping him from his goals, right? So are we open? Put G for game changer if we're willing to change the game that you're playing around money right here now. And I'm going to show you all the fun ways that I love doing it with books and thought leadership and that we train on in Thought Leader Academy, right? Yeah, awesome. Okay. So so here are the mindsets I want to use. All right. We're going to do a brain prime. All that means is we're going to suggest to our brain, we're going to paint the picture of a new way of thinking, a new game that we're going to play with money. Okay. And you don't have to believe in it or think it'll work for it to work. Isn't that cool? I'm just inviting you in to try it on. We're in a store, you're going to try on a coat. You're going to try on a dress. You're going to try on a hat. All right. So here's what I'm inviting you to try on today. I'm inviting you to try on, number one, that the money that you desire, the abundance that you desire, and by the way, if you desire it, you deserve it. I want to see that in the chat, deserve. If you desire it, you deserve it. If you have a desire for anything, whether it's money or anything else, you deserve it. And we get fed a really big lie that that's not true. If you desire it, you deserve it. I fully believe in that. The second thing is the money is already here. I had a mentor who always said it in this way. The money is already here in the form of an opportunity that you haven't actioned yet. Right? And we'll probably do some work on this tomorrow in the write-in if people want to. We'll take a poll at the end. Yeah. Ingrid, whatever, IEYE desire, right? Okay. So the money is here in the form. My mentor used to say, in the form of an opportunity, you have an action. I like saying, this is about the money is already here in the form of an idea. that you haven't created. Okay. It's this different way of saying it since we're in thought leader creativity space, right? So number one, if you desire it, you deserve it. Number two, it's already here. It is available to you right here and right now, no matter what it's been like up until now, no matter what the world says about it. That is reality. That is the capital R, proven in the quantum field, reality. Okay. You don't have to believe this for it to work. I'm just offering you an opportunity to try something on for today. And number three, the way to believe differently, right? This is what Carol and I are going to be teaching on in February. The way to believe differently about what you deserve and what you can have and all the game that you're playing, I believe starts with your identity. So what I want to do before we do these book strategies is for you to decide what is the identity you are committed to changing and stepping into in 2025 that matches with what we've been doing in this boot camp. So I'm going to give you some examples. Okay. You're going to say I am, because that's the code, right? That's the code for our subconscious mind to use the brain science to say, ooh, I am one with, not I hope to be, I wish, I want, I am. And then you're going to put in you're going to finish that sentence with something that you are stepping into for this year. You're stepping into it. So it could be, I am a best-selling author. I'm an abundant best-selling author. Maybe you're stepping into, I am a six-figure author and coach. 6 figures, $100,000. Maybe you're a 7-figure CEO. And I'm not asking you what you think is possible and what you think you're worthy of, any of that stuff. Just I am inviting everyone to claim an I am statement, because we've got to shift at the level of identity in order to think and feel and believe and then act differently. And then that will determine our results. Okay. So we do a lot of work on this in Thought Leader Academy, giving you a little mini taste of it right now. I am. So claim something for yourself right now in the chat. I am. All right. Gina is a multi-6-figure author and coach and loves who she is. Yes. Dawn, you're a best-selling author. So I am in the chat what you are stepping into. If you want to put a number that matches to the abundance you want, great. Xavier, I'm an authentic author. Yes. Yes. Suzanne is a worldwide expert, best-selling author, 6-figure business with coach, documentary, and book. Karen's an abundant 6-figure author, speaker, coach. Tanya's a 7-figure writer, speaker, and thought leader. Look at this coming in fast and furious. Now, when you see people writing these, are you looking at anyone and going, oh, no, I don't think, I don't think that, Karen deserves that. I think Grant does, no. Are you looking at these in the chat and saying, yeah, Ingrid's a 7-figure abundant visionary best-selling book author. Yeah, sure she is. Sounds good to me. Sounds right. Right? We don't make it impossible for other people. We just do that nonsense with ourselves. So I want to pull us back to something we did day one, where we crossed a line. We're not going to stand up and cross the line here, but we made a decision. I invited you each to make a decision, because the decision to become a best-selling author is the first step before we write a word. Best-selling author is about impact. It can also open the doors to lots of income, like we're going to look at now. So who is going to decide right now that you are your I am statement? You're just going to say, I'm this. I'm deciding it. And how do we stay in alignment with that decision? Every time your mind wants to take you to something other than that, you say, no, I made a decision. I'm a 7-figure best-selling author. No, I'm a 6-figure coach. No, I'm a best-selling author. I'm an industry leader. I've decided. So I want to see the word decide, and don't, again, just like day one, don't do it just, no one's grading us here, right? No comparison. But if you're really willing to in this moment decide, you're willing to decide that this is for you. Abundance is a language. I grew up, and my address was, Alexandria, Virginia, lack.com. Okay. I grew up in lack and unworthiness. The poverty mentality. Wasn't my family's fault. We came from an immigrant family. You know what I mean? Like that's just what it was. Okay. But we get to change our address, right? We get to change our address and live in the land of abundance. You get a new zip code today if you're deciding. Yes. And we get to make that shift and stay in that decision that, like, this is who I am now, and this is my life now, right? And then we get to stay lined up for it, which is why we spend all year together in Thought Leader Academy, making sure that we can stay aligned with that decision and really at a permanent level change those beliefs, right? And take the actions of the you that does that. So next week I will be, teaching more on this at our master class. But right now we've got important work to do, because those of you that decided, which I believe everybody here was saying decide, or you're, claiming an I am statement, let's rub the hands together. Let's get this into the right and left hemisphere of the brain. Okay. And we're going to talk about monetizing your mission, right? So I am going to teach a few new things. Those of you that have trained with me for a while are going to see, and then we're going to look at some foundational pieces to put this together. So I'm really excited. Now, just like on previous days, the goal in this is not, is not to do every single thing that I share with you today. You're going to feel fussy and your head's going to spin and you're not going to like me anymore. You don't have to like me anyway, but I love you. I love you all. So it's all good. But what I want you to listen for is at least one thing that you are going to pull from this and put into your 2025 plan. Okay. Those of you that continuing on with us in Thought Leader Academy, we're going to train on these in depth, right? How to put it all the pieces together. I'm going to give you everything I can in this hour, and then we're going to be working on these all year. Okay? So, let's take a look at how this, make sure you guys can see it, make sure I can see you. Do we have a monetize your book? Do we have that up there? Okay, beautiful. All right. So, we're going to talk about generating 6 to 7 figures, and the book is a piece of a bigger picture of thought leadership, as we've seen all week in the pathway that we use. All right. And I want to talk about the 4 categories of buyers. When I say buyer, it's just anyone who could become a client, a customer, a student in your course, a participant in a retreat that you get, whatever it is, right? And I just want us, those of you that are in Thought Leader Academy, you know these numbers, but I want to presence this so you can see how the strategies are going to line up. 3% of people, it is shown at any given time, are ready. They're like, I want to find someone today who can help me do this, and I'm going to pay for it today. Let's go, right? 20 to 26, these are, ranges, are actively seeking a solution. So they're actively interviewing people or looking online and saying, who does what I'm looking to do? They're watching, social media content, but they're actively seeking a solution. Like when I find the right solution or person, I'm moving forward immediately. 20 to 24% are what are called challenge aware, which is like, I know that I'm aware that there's something I want to solve or a dream that I have. It's not always a challenge, a dream I want to manifest, and I'm aware it's something I want. Okay. So who has something like this where at some point, maybe this year, it's like, oh, I'm going to have to like deal with my car. Like it's probably my last year with that car, or, oh, it's the time to, it really would be good for me to work on figuring out, something, we're going to landscape the yard, or I'm going to really probably want to incorporate a new company and I'm going to need an attorney to do that. Right. So put aware, A for aware, in the chat. If there's something in your life, you're like, I'm not probably doing anything about it today. It's not right now, but like, I'm aware that that's going to happen. That's going to be something I'm going to make a decision around. Okay, cool. And then 45-ish, whatever's left over, depending on where it falls in that range, like not aware. It's like when my son was 2, I'm not challenge aware of a college advisor, right? I mean, I know of it, but it's not anything that I'm going to be taking any action or researching or watching any content about, because I have like a little munchkin, right? I don't have someone that's getting ready for college, right? So people, we're all of us, and anyone that we're sharing our work with are in these 4 types of categories. And the really cool thing about a book, and I've seen this over and over and over with our clients, especially in this last year, because I've been paying attention to these 4 categories, is that the book can hit on all the cylinders. And that's what makes me so excited. If someone's like, I need my solution, and they see you in your book in 1.8 seconds, they might not even read your book. They might just get in touch with you and say, help, please. Right? But it's because they saw that you have a book on it, that they know you're an expert. The people who are actively seeking a solution can see your book and go, oh, good, I'm going to read this book and I'm going to see if this is the right kind of person for me, and, to do this, help me achieve the dream or solve a challenge, like we did on day 1, right? And the book is the thing that helps them realize you're their person, right? The challenge where people see it and go, oh, okay, I better get this and put it on my desk or put it on my shelf or put it in my kitchen and be like, it's not this month, but this is coming for me. And now I know who I'm gonna work with, right? And then the unaware people, a book's one of the coolest things. It's one of the only assets we can create that can hit at all four of these, because the unaware people, it's like if I see that college, counseling book and it really has a cool title and like a unique twist, I'm like, you know what? When my son's older, I got to remember that's the person I need to reach out to. I don't know if Nancy Ruth is on, but she sent me an amazing book because her daughter's applying this year. When your son's ready, he's in middle school, but when he's ready, this was a book that was really helpful for us. I already know I'm gonna follow that person, right? So put 4 in the chat if you understand the 4 categories of anyone that could be a client, a reader of your book, any of those things. Maybe it's even just to buy the book, right? It's like, oh, when I'm ready to read the book on that, I know who I'm going to. Okay. I find this incredibly helpful also, Suzanne, same, because I like thinking about the way that you could do one asset that helps with all 4 things. The other thing that happens for the challenge unaware is those people also tell people that do have the issue that are in bucket 1 and 2, hey, I saw this book. I know you're trying to find someone to help you train your dog, or, trying to really work on your marriage. I saw this book, right? So it's also a referral piece that pops new people up. All right. We ready to keep going? Okay. So we talked earlier about the way that you can use a book and turn it into, you can use a thing that you have, a podcast, a coaching program, a course, and you can turn that into a book. But it also works like an infinity loop. Let's say you're doing something new or you haven't put something together. You could take your book and then turn it in on the flip side to a course, a coaching program, a consultancy, VIP coaching, conferences or retreats, a membership or community, or a keynote talk. So we can start with one of those things and turn it into a book, or we can take the book and turn it into any of those things and many others. So there's this really cool infinity loop going back and forth over and over and over to create abundance, kind of like in a continuum, right? It can go in any order. So again, some of you came in with stuff you've been doing for a long time and you're going to turn that into a book. And others of you are like, either I want to do something new or I've been doing something different or I don't have any of those things. And that's how I'm going to monetize my mission. Because what is not on this list? What would you imagine if we're doing if today's session is about monetizing your book, what is not on this list that you would think would be there? Let's see, anyone in the chat can notice like a search and find. What do we think would probably be on this list? And it's, yeah, the book sales. Now, book sales are awesome. I just got a royalty check yesterday or deposit into it. I'm very happy about that. It's wonderful. But I am so committed that we have exited the age of the starving artist or the broke healer or the struggling coach or whatever it is. In many industries, there is financial struggle. And our team, Marietta and Amy and Jill and I, we are a stand for thought leaders, for writers, for creative, mission-driven people to not rely on the, book sale, which is what's called a low ticket item, but to have something really abundant and prosperous that we'll call high ticket, just meaning it's a bigger per sale amount that goes with your book, right? So that doesn't have to be you. You can, take it or leave it. But how many of you write the word abundance? Let's write it out in the chat. If you want serious abundance in your life, you want like abundant lifestyle to come through the work. You want to receive abundantly through what you do. And I don't like to rely on book sales for that for myself. I like those to be extra. I like those to be like the icing on the cake, a plane ticket, a getaway. Okay. That's just a personal feeling. You decide what you believe. All right, let's go. So we're going to talk about different versions of what in the marketplace are called book funnels. And I'm going to be training on these in Thought Leader Academy in the first and second quarter, everybody. So get excited, those of you that are with us. All right. So the book funnel just means a pathway. Okay. Funnel equals a pathway. I used to hate the word funnel. Like I hated the word sales. It just made me feel uncomfortable because I had what? Money stuff. right? But as I was healing that, the funnel is a pathway. So what we're going to really be talking about today is, it's great to say my book is going to lead to a course or a program or a, whatever it is, but how is a book doing that? That's what we want to look at today. Like, how exactly is it doing it? And let's just hear in the chat, because I would be excited to know, what of those ideas excites you? Like, if you were going to put what's called a high ticket item to go with your book, or if you already have one, put in the chat what that is. It's like, I would love people to read my book and hire me as a one-on-one coach. You're going to put one-on-one coach in the chat. I would like people to read my book and come to a retreat that Karen Richter, I know you're on today, right? I would like people to read my book or even see my book and to enroll in my course. Okay. So yeah, and it could be all of the above. I do every one of those things. We have one-on-one coaching, and we have, Thought Leader Academy, and we have all the things, right? Okay, great. So I want to see that. The reason I'm inviting you to write these things in the chat is so that you claim it for yourself, right? You say, what's fun? A lot of us want to do all, some different ones. Yeah, paid speaking, corporate consulting, like Cheryl talked about yesterday, where she's, going to have multi six-figure contracts and companies and then get paid, 20,000 for keynotes. Yeah, great. Great, Sandra. All right. So the funnel's a pathway, and we want to make it a fun pathway. So how do we do it? I talked on day 2 about the high converting thought leader book, and that's where this is going to come into play, because we're going to look at the mechanics of how the high converting thought leader book becomes high converting. Converting to what? The stuff you just put in the chat. Your speaking or your coaching or your retreats or your course or whatever it is, right? So how do authors do this? How can you do this? What we're going to do is not just put our book out in the world and hope someone finds us on Instagram. No, we are going to strategically invite readers into interactive experiences, one or more than one. And I'll show you examples of both. One or more than one. We're going to invite people to move from a reader to being in relationship with us. If you use sales terms, it's a lead, right? We're going to invite someone to go from just reading the book to an active participant in relationship with us. How do we do it? Okay, so I gave a little preview of this on day 2, and we're going to put it now into the full mechanics. Okay, so you are going to think of something cool that your ideal reader would really value, and you're going to make it possible for that person to do that thing and receive that really cool gift or knowledge. I'm going to give you examples here that they would be willing to give their name and email in exchange to receive from you. So if you read the 5-second rule, Mel Robbins gives you the invitation. It's like, hey, I'm glad you're reading this book, but if you want me in your inbox every day for 30 days, kicking your buns to get out of bed and take action, then go here. And go here can be in the form of a link. It can be in the form of a QR code. That's the way we teach it mostly right now until something new. There'll probably be like retinal scans, or I don't know what on earth is going to happen, next. But right now, QR codes are the highest converting, right? You could do a quiz or assessment, like in Profit First. It's like, how screwed are you? Do you want to find out? Yes, Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First. I want to see my profit score, right? You can do an assessment. You could do an assessment like the passion test. There's all kinds of ways. I put some ideas in your workbook. Email sequences like Mel Robbins did, an assessment or quiz. I like putting this in the second S if you're using the SSS framework. You have time for someone to hear your story. You move into the situation, and then you say, hey, you might want to know more. I want to give you something extra. It can be a template, a workbook, recipes, a video, not in the book bonus material. It can be all kinds of things. You get to decide. And in those of you in Thought Leader Academy who join us, we have a whole training on how to figure out the ideal, resource to use, right? How many of you either have or would, if an author gave you something exciting to you, like a quiz, an assessment, and you wanted your personalized results, or you got a special recipe, or they guided you through a meditation in a video so you didn't have to read it in the book, you could lie back and close your eyes. They gave you a workbook to do what they're teaching you. How many of you put me in the chat if you'd be like, yeah, for free, and I just give you my name and email, knowing I'll get your emails and that kind of thing. But I would want that. If the author has done a good job of giving us something truly valuable that we aren't able to get just from the book, we would want it. Yes. Okay. So assessment or quiz. You can do Jennifer Luddington, one of our authors. She didn't want to do an assessment or quiz. She was doing this thing in her book that was called the Daily Dare. She was giving people something to shake them out of their routine, to get them out of their preconceived ideas about what was possible. And so she had a thing that if you opted into her, if you wanted to, she would send you a daily dare for a month. She actually did this before the book came out. She launched the first chapter, and then they could give their name and email for free, and she would send them a daily dare. And she had a Facebook group so people could post that they did their dare, and she grew her email list by 30% in the pre-order period. Now, if she had to pay for that in ads and other, it would have been very expensive, right? So she was able to do that for before the book even came out, because she had an event that she wanted to have, at the book launch. Okay. So you could do a challenge, a dare. You could do what David Goggins did and You Can't Hurt Me. And he had, not in the book, video and interviews with his ghostwriter and all kinds of different things that you could do and you could get access to. So kind of like how Patreon, and different things for podcasts. It's like you can get in the inner circle. That can be a great move, right? If you run events, you could say, hey, I love that you're reading this book. I'm going to train our community live 4 times a year. If you're reading this book, I'm going to give you a free ticket to come to this, whether it's online or in person. And because you read the book and bought the book, like, you get to come to my event. And Denise Duffield Thomas did this. Okay. Remember, I'm asking everyone just to listen for something, not everything. Listen to something in here that feels exciting to you. All right. Now, I mentioned QR codes right now are converting the best. And we tested them. The first one with Jen Ludington's book in terms of clients I coach, we tested it in 2020. And then that year afterwards, we saw Tony Robbins doing, lots of people were starting to do it at the same time we were, right? So let's say you have lots of resources you want to share in your book. How many of you have multiple things? I like the idea of giving them a workbook and having some videos of, modeling what I'm teaching. And I like the idea of being able to invite them to an event. So if you have multiple things, then the strategy I want to offer to you is a book portal. What's a book portal? It's simply one place that people can go that read your book and get access to a whole world of your book. Okay. So when I did the Science of Getting Rich for Women, it was about the women's economic comeback from the pandemic, where women lost $800 billion. That's why I wrote that book. And I wanted to give women loads of resources. I wanted to give people a lot of things to support them in creating financial wealth and abundance after such a hard hit. So I was inspired by Vishen Lakhani, the founder of Mind Valley's portal. He didn't call it a portal. That's just what we call it. But the 6-phase meditation book, the Code of the Extraordinary Mind, had the 6-phase meditations and had a workbook, and I 100% opted in for that. So when it was time for my book to come out, I said, great, we're going to make this little page, and people give their name and email. They don't have to give their phone number, just if they want to. And then when they click, it's all free. And you go into the world of the book. And we had abundance trainings, and we had a workbook, and we had the book tour, because we did a live in-person book tour, and you could come join me on the book tour for a workshop. And we had interviews with the women that I interviewed for the book that are self-made women millionaires post-pandemic. And you could watch the videos and, read their stories in the book, but then you could actually see them on video and feel like you're getting to know them, right? So you might want to do a book portal. These are all different ways, whether it's a single PDF with some good information or a worksheet, all the way up to an interactive book portal. It could be one thing, it could be many things. We don't just want to do many for the sake of it. We want to do it only if it's of service to your reader. But what happens is your reader now is binging your content. They are receiving value from you. They're getting actual transformation, not just information. And that is going to do all those things we talked about day one. Build trust, long form, authenticity, storytelling. Like, you have an opportunity to go beyond the book. So put BTB if this is making sense. We're going to go beyond the book so that you do have a pathway and people do have the amount of interactive time and connection with you to build trust with you and know that you're their person. This is how you can monetize 6 to 7 figures a year, because you're going to bring them from the book into these other things that you put in the chat a few minutes ago. All right. So Perry Grossman was one of our clients. I mentioned her, I think day 2, where she did the interview book because she got really, really serious COVID and then long haul. And she did her interview book, but she really wanted that to lead to paid speaking, right? That was just like really what she wanted her book to do. So her book funnel was really positioning herself as someone amazing that can bring together great storytelling and do a great interview. And she, launched a course as well. But that was, such a powerful a pathway that she had to people to see her as the expert, book her for speaking, have, come and do her course. And she actually had a 6-figure week the week of her launch. She made $100,000 because she used the previews of the book to get on a bunch of podcasts, and people immediately went and hired her as a coach just off the podcast within that first 7-day period. Okay, that was her funnel. Donna Kendrick, who's one of our thought leader members here, right? She wrote her book in 12 weeks. By the way, with 6 children in the house. Okay, 6 children. So blended families, like the Brady Bunch. She had 3 kids. Her new husband had 3 kids. They had 6 kids in the house. And she just knew she had to get her message of helping women that have experienced, a loss of a spouse or a divorce or a big transition be able to financially rise. And she was helping the women in, the Philadelphia area, and she wanted to get her message out. So she used the book to get her, seen as that authority, go out and book some speaking engagements. She attracted an investor, and hers was in the, $500,000 range in the first few months after the book. Increased income, right? That was her funnel, her path. All right. You can use your book, right, to get booked for speaking and additional speaking then on stages in the media, right? You can go on television shows and TEDx we've talked about in here, right? So the book is opening the doors that we talked about on day 1, right? So that can be part of your funnel. All right. So let's just review the strategy so it really locks in, right? How do we have a high converting book strategy to whatever it is that we want to lead them to? We are going to, I put in your workbook, and this is your homework for tonight. You can work on it in the write-in tomorrow. Where do your ideal people get stuck, right? Where do the people you want to serve hit a wall? What do they complain about? If you're not sure, or you're going into a whole new niche, or you hadn't even thought about making a coaching program, go to the top people in your space and read the comments on their social media posts. You'll see exactly what questions people are asking. You'll see where they're getting stuck. They'll see where they're getting frustrated. Or you'll see their number one goal, what they're working on, what would be a win. You want to make the resource just a bite-sized piece of something that could really serve your ideal person, something be super valuable for them, right? So this is going to be your homework tonight, to brainstorm what is that. And if you're not sure, go on ChatGPT, go on Google. What are people complaining about in the space of parenting, or the space of relationships, or the space of environment, or whatever it is that's your expertise, right? And remember, just in case anyone's new to this, many of you might have already participated in this. You already offer things called freebies or, lead magnets. They're called different things. But the strategy is to make sure that in order for someone to receive this amazing, beautiful resource you've given them, that they give their name and email, right? Because that's the only way. If someone buys your book, you cannot contact them. You can't serve them. You can't ask them, how else can I be helpful? How's it going? Did you try this part in the book, right? And team, if you could share the workbook link again, in case anyone, I know some people are just coming in today. Is that Maggie? Maggie, welcome. You're coming in on day 5. You can watch the replays, but yeah, I'll get everybody the workbook. Okay. Thanks for joining us. Right. So this is the strategy we're talking about. How do we create a book funnel, which just means pathway? We need a way for people to, from the book, go somewhere to do more with us, to receive more. I think this came up in the VIP room in case it wasn't in the main session. This is my favorite template. You can screenshot this. Okay. You can use this kind of Mad Lib style if you want to do a quiz or assessment to show the value to someone and have them want to give that name and email through your book. Find out, and only if it is 5 minutes, might be 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Find out, put a quantifier so people know it's not going to take them a long time. If you are, fill in the blank of the thing you want to help them get clear on with this online quiz. So find out in less than 20 minutes if you're ready to be a best-selling author with this, I would call it a best-selling book assessment. And then you could say receive a custom strategy straight to your email so you can, and you're going to fill in a benefit. So you can make sure that you get your book done in 90 days, or make sure that your book is going to be a bestseller before you even start writing. Okay, that would be an example in my world. Find out in less than 5 minutes if your pet is suffering from anxiety and might need medication with this online quiz. Receive a custom report straight to your email so that you can care for your beloved member of your family and make sure that in this world that's crazy and they're sucking up all the energy of humans, they get to rest well and sleep well and live longer. Okay, you can apply this template to any category, any genre, anything. Those of you writing fiction or poetry, this is don't check out here, because guess what? You can put this at the front and back of a novel or a memoir. You could do something cool like we've had people do book club guides and say, if you share your name, I will give you discussion questions, a icebreaker, a signature mocktail to serve at your book club around the book, and you could enter a raffle for me to come in and guest Zoom at your book club. Okay, there's so many different ways that you can serve people beyond the book. BTB, you're gonna be thinking beyond the book. Who's getting some ideas? Put I in the chat if you are getting some ideas. You're starting to have some pieces are buzzing. You're like, I could imagine, taking some time today and brainstorming and story banking. What might be a really valuable resource. Some of you who are turning your coaching program or your consulting or your methodology into a book, you've got a billion things you could do, right? You just pick one that you think is the most exciting for your person. Okay? So what resource are you going to create for your book? Let's take 2 minutes, just do some I like calling it vision storming instead of brainstorming. I don't know why. It's just like brainstorming just feels old school. So we're going to vision storm. Who's going to put VS for vision storm? If you're open, we're going to take 2 minutes and we're just going to get something started so that you don't feel like you're going into your homework without, some ideas. We're going to use the energy of this creative vortex and we're going to vision storm. Okay. So I'll watch the time. Jill, if we can put on maybe some native flutes, something beautiful, and let's all and remember, I'm going to invite you not to do it from up here. I'm going to invite you to sink into your heart and your soul and say, what does my person need? What would create a real win for them? Okay. 2 minutes starting now. In the chat, did that feel creative? Did it feel fun? Did it feel overwhelming? Just go ahead and give yourself a minute to be present with yourself. Revealing. Yeah. While you're putting how that felt in the chat, I want to show you, I promised to do something and show you a couple new things. This is what we're going to be training on, those of you in Thought Leader Academy and those of you joining us after the boot camp. This is what I'm really excited to train on. I want to show you this really quickly. So there's a couple of new book funnels that I'm excited to test this year and that I've been seeing versions of and kind of making up in my creative time. And because we're seeing the rise of the long form content again in such a profound way, another neat thing, just to plant a seed for this, and again, those of you training with us, we'll coach on this and put this together, is to take that free resource, and you can either post that on social media or run ads to it, right? So you've got this free, valuable resource. And then what's going to happen is automatically anyone that gets that free resource can get a person. You can set this all up, to be automated, but they're going to get invited into 2 long form pieces of content. So just picture this. Someone gets your recipe or your PDF or your checklist or your quiz, and then they get sent maybe the first chapter of your book in a PDF form. Or maybe if it's even your whole book, you decide, right? You can decide how you want to use it. And then they get sent a podcast episode or a video of some kind that is powerful that gets them into an experience, right? So they get a immediate win, like their little hors d'oeuvre, amuse bouche. Then they get a piece of your book to let them, hear your story or, have a piece. Then they get a, recording of some kind that's long form, that's going to really serve them. And then that person can be invited to, if you do some kind of an actual strategy session with people. All of this can be free. Give, 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 give. By that point, someone knows. They might know just reading your book. But I think this funnel is really interesting. So put me in the chat if this sounds exciting to you. If you're like, ooh, that sounds kind of cool. Like, I like the idea of a mini free thing and then 2 long form pieces of content, and then inviting someone to have a conversation, to pour into them, to give them a strategy, whether it's on Zoom or on the phone. Okay. So that's a really cool one that I like. Then Scott Oldford just did a version. I've seen a few people do this. He's a business coach and investor in companies. This was really interesting. So he did 5 long form videos on YouTube. And they were really beautifully lit, very experiential. He did guided visualizations. And that all led to his book launch, which just came out last week, Million in the Red. But what he really was leading to at the end of the 5th video was you get the book, and he had like this sort of bundle. Okay. So this is a video series to book to bundle. And when someone's able to binge, this is back to long form being queen this year, right? And then those people he can reach out to and see if they're a good fit for what he does in terms of like investing in small businesses. He specializes in taking people to 8-figure coaching. Okay. So he did not do anything live. He didn't do a live event. He filmed these videos and built this whole fund that he can run over and over and over and over again if he wants to. So I had someone message me last week and say, I don't want to do stuff live like you do, like master classes and things. You don't have to. Okay. So put Scott in the chat if that's kind of interesting to you. Like, you could create these really compelling. He just pulled juicy nuggets from his book and made a video about each of 5 of those. And then that led to book sales and this bundle that let him really build rapport and serve people, all just done there for people to get whenever they want. Okay. And Gary V, who knows Gary V? Just put GV in the chat if you know Gary V. You've heard of him. Teaches content creation, social media strategies, big, like just powerful. He has that kind of Tony Robbins gravelly voice, right? So he predicted at the end of last year that either people are going to go way over here to AI, and then what's going to happen is there's going to be a rise of leaders who will go old school. And what he didn't talk, I pulled this strategy from someone else that I was working on with this, but what he's saying is old school, like you're not doing any of the AI stuff. It's all high touch. It's all like, I'm a real human sitting here and connecting with you. It's the stuff we looked at day one. And there's a writer I know who did this strategy and generated $1 million in 1 year with the strategy that I'm going to share with you now. And we're gonna let our brains digest. Okay. So what she did is she went on LinkedIn and she had her assistant help her find people that would need the kind of law that she practiced. It wasn't Lisa Fraley. I just put her book here as an example, but because Lisa and I know each other, but there's another business attorney, and she found she loves specializing like Lisa does in women entrepreneurs. So she wrote a handwritten note. Her team wrote handwritten notes. I don't know exactly what the methodology was of finding the mailing addresses, but they had a honoring, respectful strategy. And they wrote a handwritten, beautiful note and sent the book in a mailer to people and said, I know that, this is changing in business, or these laws are changing, and I know you have this kind of a business. And if my team and I could be of any service to make sure that, you're in compliance perfectly and nothing slips through the cracks and you're fully protected and your intellectual property is protected. We specialize in working with women just like you who do this. They were very, very focused on who they served. And because that was received through the mail, and it was, yeah, Marietta, this will be great for your book, right? And they received this in the mail and it broke through all the online and all the stuff. She had $1 million in additional revenue come through her book this way. Okay. So I wanted to give you like an old school strategy, which I think is going to be big this year, going old school. We have gold bubble mailers of that I send my book out in, because it's like, it feels exciting. It feels fun, right? And do not underestimate the power of actually sending someone something they can touch in a world that is so digital and so artificial with our AI, right? And this is where we're wrapping all the way around to day one. We said a big thing I'm committed to this year, and we're going to be teaching in Thought Leader Academy is not just we're going to use artificial intelligence in appropriate ways, useful ways, but we're here more for creative intelligence, even if it works for you to say divine intelligence. Who likes to touch stuff still? You know, you like to touch a paper and a pen, right? I bought myself for Christmas a fountain pen, just a fun one. It wasn't like a super expensive, it was just made me happy. It feels good. I love it. I freaking love it. I work on it all the time. I love writing with that thing every day. Do my morning pages with it, right? If everyone else is going AI and you go old school, you will stand out. It'll be a period of differentiation. All right. Yeah, we like to touch stuff. It's not at the exclusion of AI. It's just let's have it have its place. But everyone else is running that way, and we're gonna be running over here. So I want to bring Carol up because Carol, I know, Carol, you're here for the long form, the authentic, the trust build, the old school with me. I love it. Hey, Carol, so good to see you.
Hey, nice to be here. Hi, everybody.
So everyone, I'd love you to give Carol some love in the chat. Carol's book, The Yes Code, also came out this October. So it's you've got a newborn still. You've got a new baby here, and this is a brilliant book. Carol trained with the founder of EFT in the VIP room. We did some emotional freedom technique this week. Trained the founder of EFT. You are a leading world expert. You're presenting in Australia this year. You're traveling. I mean, you live in New York City. You're presenting at things. You had a huge book launch. And you have shown up over and over and over as the real deal for your people for so many years. Carol had how many people registered for your online book launch? I forget the numbers, kept going up.
1,600.
1,600. I want to see in the chat who would like 1,600 people to be that excited that your book is coming out and to say, yes, I need to be part of this launch. And Carol, you've sold out courses from your book already. You've done so many things. But again, you had been in your field. You're an expert. You're a world leading expert in your field. So why was this book important to bring out in 2024?
Well, I just wanted to reach more people and really put my training and what I do and what I feel is me in a book form, rather than a course here and a freebie here and a newsletter here. And I just really wanted to get it all in one place. And it was incredible, incredible to do it. It was such a cool process.
It is, and I mean, may I share that you're pregnant again? Like, are we outing you? So,
Okay.
so it didn't turn you off enough. So if anyone's at the beginning thinking, "Oh my God, this is so much work," you're doing a second book, right?
Mhm.
And so what, like it didn't put you off. It didn't take you out. It didn't. You actually are doing another one. What is like? What's the fire there for you? Do you want to share about why it feels important to continue writing books?
Well, it's just we all have a message and we all need to reach people and not all the same people.
Right.
And it's just really important to have people be able to buy a $15 or a $1 instead of doing all the enormous programs. So I like having something for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Get something free. You can buy the book on Amazon, or you can do, a coaching program. And the fire, I can't do anything about that. It just just comes down. It comes in, it comes through. It's not manufactured by me, as you know. So when you listen, when you pay attention to your yes, right? When you listen, it's right there. So
Yeah.
that's
And that's what you help people, you guys, when you read this book, not only you get, of course, get guided through this tapping, but you learn your yes and your no. Isn't that cool? Put cool in the chat if you think it's cool to know, like your own physiology, your own subconscious is going to be able to tell you yes and no. Like, whether should I do this or not do this? Should I, so Carol, like letting people have that alone. If that was even the one thing, obviously the book has so many things, but what are you hearing from people? Like, how has it been in these first months since the Yes Code came out?
It's so funny. Someone was on my course yesterday and said, "I'm going through your book," and I said, "What?" I'm moving through your book, and this phrase hit me. So that's what keeps happening. People say, "I didn't know that to ask that question," or "This phrase got to me," or "I didn't realize this was my block," because it's about transforming sabotage.
Right.
So people keep hearing or reading or seeing something that's meaningful to them where they've never looked at it that way. So that's what keeps happening, which was the point of my writing it. But to hear it from live people is different.
Does anyone feel like that's the thing you like, you have the vision, you're working towards the vision, and you hoped people would have that, you hoped it would have that impact, but then actually someone saying it, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I'm so excited for you. And what's been the best part? Like, and what are you most looking forward to as we, merge into this year? You're writing book number 2, book 1 is out. What are you most excited about?
I would say the best part was the support. So I'd never heard of you a year ago.
Right?
Never heard of you. Some email came across my desk, my inbox, and I signed up for the boot camp.
Yeah.
And by day 5, it was like, well, it's obvious I'm going to do this. I just haven't figured out when, how, and when to start. So the support from you and your team and the people, I have like all these new best friends. I've got my best friends from kindergarten still. Like I don't have a problem making friends, but in this program, there are people who've done a lot of work on themselves. They're really inspired. They have total integrity. And then there's you, total integrity, giving us so many resources. And the support was incredible. When I first, it probably was for day 1 or 2 of the boot camp a year ago,
Yeah.
I was overwhelmed. I was like, well, great idea to write a book, but I don't know what she's talking. Portal, QR code? No, right. I was so overwhelmed. But in TLA, somebody was a month ahead of me. Somebody was 6 months ahead of me. Somebody was a year ahead of me and asking the questions. And I just kind of trusted the process. And I got there. You can't get the title until you do that. You can't write the book until you've done that. You can't do the portal until you figured out. And I just went through the steps. But there's so much support. Videos, live classes with you, the stuff with Marietta and Amy, the pods. It's like, I don't have time to do it all. It's so much. So that was, is it fantastic to have a book and to be on New York, Times Square and do all that and have something physical to hold and give to people and send to people? Absolutely. But there is nothing like the support. There is nothing like the emotional support from this program.
Oh my God, Kara, it's been such a joy and excitement. And this hit bestseller in all the categories. It was like, is it going to happen? We all feel like it's afraid. Does anyone feel sitting here like it feels like a fantasy still. Like I'm afraid it won't happen. Just put me, if there's any, because Carol, I remember sitting with you and so many of our amazing, members in Thought Leader Academy. And it's how I feel every time before a book comes out. I'm like sweating it. I'm like nervous. I know Audrey just hit the bestseller list here while we're, in the boot camp. So Carol, is there anything else you want to say to someone who's like, you were here a year ago, sitting in this boot camp, this exact training, feeling overwhelmed, and you chose to say yes to yourself? Yes, since you're the yes code, and you said yes to the vision, and you just took it one step at a time, and went through the process in Thought Leader Academy. Anything you want to say to anybody who's feeling like it's a fantasy?
It may be a fantasy now, but just wait month by month until it becomes real. That's what happens. And then, I was hooked up with one of your editors, right? Everybody gets 10 sessions with their editor. And slowly but surely it unfolds. It can't all happen day 1. I'm very impatient and impulsive. I wanted it all that first month. I hadn't even written the thing. I'm not going to have it all done the first month. So patience would be a great idea. I don't have any patience.
Yeah, me neither.
And just trusting that process. You're going to get the answers that you need. Ask the questions, go to the trainings, they're all on recordings, go to your pod and ask a question. And then you get what you need. I didn't know what I didn't know, right? It's so exciting. I call you, I call you the triple threat, as they say. I live in New York and on Broadway. If they sing, dance, and can act, they're a triple threat. Sarah is the triple threat, everybody, quadruple threat. She has everything and she offers everything. And she'll back you up. You backed me up. And so did your people. All these people who are my friends now, they back up and they're happy for me, happy for my success. So it's a pretty rare, I hate to say that, it is a rare combination of people and characteristics and wonderful parts of us, human beings in this group. It's rare and it's incredibly invaluable.
We're so excited. I mean, Carol, knowing what's coming with the next book, I won't say a word of what it's about because it's in development, but it's going to be absolutely incredible. And I'm so happy for him, so happy for you impacting and scaling the courses and teaching. You and I are going to co-teach in February on really getting the subconscious, beliefs aligned and having a success breakthrough and all these ways, which I'm wildly excited about. And I'm so happy for you to have it be your real life now, right? The fantasy versus the reality. And I wonder if we could just do could we just tap abundance like one way? I mean, are you guys up for that? Who wants Carol to tap in some abundance? This is Abundance Day. It's Monetize the Mission Day. Carol, I did not ask your permission for this. So I'm putting you on the spot, but you're a master. And we just maybe just do like one round of bringing in this abundance for everybody. Because tomorrow we're doing the write-in. I mean, you came to that on Saturday. We're going to start integrating, putting the pieces, and everyone's going to, put their success plan together. So will you tap us? Will you tap us?
I'm going to assume that we all have little or big blocks to abundance still. So that's going to be the languaging. Okay.
All right, let's do it. You guys just follow. If you've never done it before, all you have to do is repeat, tap where Carol's tapping and just say, I'll model the repeat. Yeah.
Even though I have some remaining blocks to my abundance,
Even though I have some remaining blocks to my abundance,
I just decided to release them now.
I just decided to release them now.
Even though I have some old blocks from my family and my history,
Even though I have some old blocks from my family and my history,
I just decided to be present and to be me now.
I just decided to be present and to be me now.
I feel so light letting go of these blocks.
Oh, I feel so light letting go of these blocks.
And I love the abundance I already have.
I love the abundance I already have.
I appreciate who I am.
I appreciate who I am.
I appreciate what I bring to the world.
I appreciate what I bring to the world.
I love abundance.
I love abundance.
And I love opening the door to my abundance.
And I love opening the door to my abundance.
I'm grateful for all the abundance that I see, feel, and know.
I am grateful for all the abundance I see, feel, and know.
And I love appreciating it with you too.
I love appreciating it with you too. Oh my gosh, everyone, give yourself a scan. Just see if in that just micro experience, if you felt your cortisol drop, your shoulders relax. Oh, maybe your heart open. I feel, yeah, Christina's like, I have goosebumps. I'm tingling. Thank you. Chills. Love it. Isn't it gorgeous? Carol, you are incredible. We've put the link here. And Jill, if we can share that again so you can all get it. Gina was like, I need to read that book right now. Yes, get the yes code so you can have this support to align on all the levels of you, your abundance, your thought leadership, your success. Carol, we're so excited. You've just barely gotten started. So much more to come. Thank you for making time for us today.
Thank you so much, and lots of free stuff on the portal. So go to the portal and get
That's right. Yeah, Carol followed the soul strategy. Go right to that portal and get her tapping. Yes. I know. Maggie's like, I enjoyed that. It was awesome. Yes. Thank you, Carol.
Thank
So
you.
everybody, we're going to get ready to complete the main session for today. You have done phenomenal work already this week. And remember, we are bonusing tomorrow to everyone, not just VIP. Everyone is invited. You can bring people. Come join us 11 to 1 Eastern time tomorrow. We're going to have what's called a write-in. It's basically an online writing party. We're going to pull in the themes from the week. We will, if you want to. Okay, actually, I'm going to ask this before we conclude. How many of you would want to use part of tomorrow, in addition to doing some writing wedges, to actually work on generating financial abundance? We want to do some more of this experiential work and start using, I can teach you a technique from my book to start generating your next level of financial abundance. So those of you wanting to figure out joining Thought Leader Academy, we'll get that in motion. So let's see if we have enough people. Okay, it sounds juicy and fun. We've got yeses. Okay, it's on. We're gonna play our favorite. We're gonna play our favorite abundance generation game tomorrow in addition. So it's, yes, we will record it. I know some of you, how could you have plans on the weekend? I mean, really? You have a life? No. So if you're able to join us 11 to 1 Eastern, we will 100% will record that for you tomorrow. It's your birthday, Don. Well, then you go receive abundance on your birthday and you can watch the recording. We're going to have a really fun online writing retreat for those 2 hours. And I'm really excited to continue the journey with you. Just make sure today that you do your deposit for Thought Leader Academy if you want to be in that first 5 to get the special mini retreat with me so I can personally help you finish mapping your book and doing your revenue plan. And you have till tomorrow, right? Saturday, 5 o'clock Eastern, for all the bonuses and all the special things that we have this week for you in the boot camp. And it's just your deposit now. And then your full payments in year doesn't even start until mid-February. Okay. So make your deposit, just do it now. If you're coming to VIP, I will see you in a minute. And if you are wrapping for today, your homework tonight is to think about what is that juicy interactive resource or resources for a book portal that you're going to help create that pathway to 6 to 7 figures through your book. I'll see you guys in a minute or tomorrow at 11, not noon, 11 o'clock tomorrow. All right. Bye, everybody. Great job.